latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm going to guys a bit of a review video on a product from Outdoor Revolution. So with me here today, I've got the Outdoor Revolution Movelite T4E PC. So essentially there's a lot of abbreviations there. So Movelite essentially is the model and the range that it sits in. The T4 is the model, or T4E I should say, and the PC stands for polycotton. So it was a model that was newly introduced for 2021, and going into 22 we've got a few updates, a few tweaks, but really not a huge amount of change, just because last year it was introduced, it was such a revelation. People flocked for it. I think it was one of the first awnings in the marketplace to sell out. So it kind of, you know, that is testimony enough to how kind of good this product is, and also where it sits in relation to other models in a similar sort of category. So there's a lot of things on this in terms of additions, features, flexibility that you don't see from the other brands, and that's one thing that why we loved it so much. And again, represent why it was so early in terms of selling out for 21. 22, like I said, we've still got a really nice polycotton material. So it's a breathable fabric, so it's a bit cooler in the warmth and it's a bit warmer in the cold. So the weave can expand and contract of the material, allow air to pass through. So you get the best of both worlds. You get a longer lifespan out of it as well. So again, not only do you pay for the better quality, but you get the breathability and a bit more longer life. Overall as well, it's a bit of a natural fabric. Not as sort of synthetic kind of flappings, as a much more nice natural material, back to kind of the old school cotton, but dries a little bit quicker than the old cotton. Admittedly, it's not quite as quick as polyester, but you get other benefits for me, and making sure packing away, storing it dry is crucial, especially with polycotton. It's got a much smaller time window as such. Quick and easy to pitch. You can see our own Attwoolls pitching and packing videos. I've done this model on my own in about 12-13 minutes, so it means it's great for shorter weekends, or if you're going away for longer spells, you can also do that as well. Each beam is done individually, and you can done every point has its own inflation, deflation valve, and it's also got a smart intelligence valve, which means that when it gets to sort of the right pressure, it lets a little bit of air out just to let you know. It also helps that it sort of self-regulates itself, so if it's a warm day and the air sort of expands due to kind of increase in temperature, it'll let some of the air out to make sure it doesn't over-inflate. Other things as well is there's a lifetime warranty on the beams itself. For the product, not the person, just means that you've got reassurance that necessarily it's not going to be an issue. Each beam is exactly the same as one another, so if you want a spare tube just for the sake of it, having, you know, is better than how to have and not need, and need not have is certainly one of the better way around it. You've got beautiful kind of tinted windows, but they're quite crystal clear, so you get great visibility out, but obviously privacy on the way in. And again, you can sort of see more sort of shapes rather than detail. But most of it is all secondaried up with some zip-up curtains in the main body, just to give that ultimate level of privacy as you see and need it. Lots of optional extras available for this, so you've got the ability to buy a porch door, which is going to look something like this. So it encloses the front and means that essentially it creates an extra space as well. And new for kind of 22 is the fact that when you buy kind of the front bit now, you can get included with it some additional curtains, so you get privacy upside there as well as you still got the ability of adding on additional sort of sun canopy, which looks something like this. The sun canopy can be used on its own, not necessarily just with the porch door, so you've got the flexibility of doing what you wanted to with it. You can also buy kind of a conversion kit as well that will allow you to put just the sun canopy on a rail, so you can use the sun canopy on its own, not necessarily with the awning. So again, you've got two purposes into one, so really nice and flexible. The final sort of main optional extra I would say would be the ability of having an annex at the back, which looks something like this. The annex gives you the ability to sleep an extra 2 people in the awning without taking up any internal living area. And if you wanted to see kind of all of these all in one go, you can check out our video review from 2021, where we've got all those in place as pictured there, and we've kind of walked through it. So if you want a better idea about the setup, have a quick look and throw back to that little video itself. Things I would sort of recommend is a manual pump comes included with it, but you can buy some additional storm straps to kind of brace it at the front, just getting that really nice and taut, and it's a small extra cost, but really it's going to help you in the long run. The canopy is a little bit deeper than its 21 version, so it means you've got a bit more space, even though the extras will still fit with previous year's models. When you buy the awning, you get a ground sheet for this front section, and when you buy the porch door, it comes almost like a continuation footprint, velcros to the main footprint a little bit, so ground sheet for the main area, and just kind of makes that whole area completely enclosed if you wanted to as well. It also sort of toggles up a little bit, so it kind of feels a lot more thorough. Webbing straps are located at the bottom as well, so you can tension it quite nice and neatly. Guide points are included, of course, and you've got a really easy tensioner, so you can just pull it down, not having to faff around too much. On the kind of side over here, obviously we've got big windows. We've also got a door located in the middle section here as well, so we can actually unzip that and use that as an access door. You've also got a full mesh door built in behind it as well, so you can get great airflow into the actual awning from pretty much all angles, to be fair. So you've got one at the front, side as a mesh part to it as well, and obviously the back, you've got the kind of annexy section as well. So, and again, the zip runs all the way along the bottom, as well as the top. So you get a proper full-on area for mesh. Sky windows are built into the model as well, so you can get a little bit of light coming in through, even when you want the level of privacy. Admittedly, the curtains only go up to this point here, so you can never actually cover the sky windows unless you go for kind of the lounge liner, which is an optional extra. Another thing I've neglected to mention as well is the fact that we've thought about the extras of that, but it's now available in different heights. So for 22 going forward, you can get this model in 3 different heights. So you can get it in a low, a mid, or a high line. The low does 180 to 220, the mid 220 to 255, and the high 255 to 305. So you've got a broad spectrum of things it can fit. So the low's typically going to fit something like the small little VW or transit that I've got here. Your mid's going to be more like your panel vans, so your Ducatos or low-line motorhomes, and then the high is your taller motorhomes as well. So it's all about where the fixation point is. In terms of fixing it to the van, you can basically guide down the lines of a normal kind of rail system, which I've got currently on here, or a wind out. Now, you've got dual beading on the awning itself, so you could feed it directly into one of those, but personally I wouldn't recommend it, just because when you come to drive away, it's an absolute pig. And so I'd strongly recommend the fixing kit if you are going into a rail system. Failing that, you can quite simply use some guy ropes over the top of the vehicle and down the other side. Immediately for the high, you probably want to get some extended or storm straps to take it over the top. And then you've also got the ability of a sleeve built into the tunnel section, so you can use a pole and clamp it into a gutter or a reamer rail. So again, different options there, or physically, like I said, the simplistic guy ropes over the top, peg it down the other side, or even lash the guy ropes to a roof bar. So plenty of flexibility in the awning itself. But I'll tell you what, let's have a little look on the inside and talk through a few more features that the new T4E PC has to offer. So now we kind of swivel the camera around a little bit, you can probably get a bit more of an idea for the canopy depth itself. Like I said, a little bit of longer space just gives you a bit more usability area in here, and the door's kind of situated on the left hand side, and we've got this kind of new sort of 30-70 door, so it's sort of 30%, 70%, and it gives you the ability to kind of almost have a little, your main kind of corridor going so, and the porch door at the front also reflects that as well. Now, with the porch door, you get a front mesh built into it as well, so you can almost have a full mesh point here, and there's a mesh door located behind the front door that's stitched into the awning itself. Now, we've got obviously a PVC window with the curtain as well, so you've got that still double level of privacy if you wish. By unzipping it back, you've got retaining clips as well that kind of just help to take the strain off the actual zip itself. So we can unzip that back, unpeg it at the bottom, roll that back, do a bit of a rush job. So you've got these kind of oversized toggle points to make sure you can get it back into the side. And this reveals obviously the full mesh door we've got built into it. So again, you've got your first layer against bugs, quite nice and neatly in there. So you can have the canopy protect you against the rain, that against the bugs. You've got the airflow coming directly in and get circulation of air. So that works really well. Again, you've still got almost like that 70-30 door located here. And if you want to open it all back up like I'm back to now. The thing I like as well is it zips all the way along the bottom, as you can see there. So it means it's neat and tidy, and you've got a much more thorough kind of attachment. It's quite a low cut door as well, so you've not really got a trip hazard in and out, which means it's brilliant for kind of push chairs and prams, and also wheelchairs for that matter. So now we're sort of inside here, you can kind of feel a bit more about the height. You've got these sort of vertical sides. Maybe it's not quite as vertical as maybe other brands, but it's still a great usable space. Now, we've got the ability, like I said, of having 2-berth, 4-berth bedrooms in here. So a 2-berth can go quite literally in this section, or alternatively here. So it's going to take about a quarter of the area. A 4-berth is going to go straight on the back and leave you this much living area here. Failing that, if you want to remain your kind of internal sort of section, you can then remove the back panel, put the annex as we saw earlier in the little video, and that kind of gives you a bit more thoroughness as well. So alternatively, if you had a 4-berth bedroom and then closed the porch door, you're getting a similar sort of space you would in this area anyway. So that's the joys of it. It becomes very flexible. You've got almost like a dual door system leading into kind of the tunnel section. So you've got your front door, which sort of mirrors as the sliding door would on a normal van, or we've got a secondary door here. So if you had it on the other side with the tunnel facing section facing the back, again, that would still mirror the door. Alternatively, of course, you've got this mesh area here for that airflow inside the awning as well, and a little bit of visibility but still privacy. And by having it kind of one door open and one door not, you create a sort of storage section down outside of here, which I think is really quite nice. Saying that, you can open it up and it really kind of makes the awning become part of the vehicle. So when you open that sliding door, it's a much more open space and feels, yeah, much more open plan, should we say. Admittedly, if you've got a bedroom place, you kind of lose that flexibility, but it's still nice to have. And again, we'll open this up. The doorway section into one another can actually be zipped, sort of toggled up and zips. Alternatively, you can sort of zip it down. And what that allows you to do is have, again, that sort of trip-free access point quite happily kind of into every section. So you're not, again, haven't got to worry too much about that. I've gone to the wrong toggle, haven't I? I'll make it work. Okay. So overall, you've got a hanging point for a lantern as well, and then you've got little Velcro tabs leading down to a cable entry point down the bottom here. So you can still have mains hookup inside the awning itself. You've got the ability of having those Velcro points. So you can have the uplighters, which is an Outdoor Revolution thing where it's like lampshades upside down to put little Lumi lights in and also bounce light around the awning itself. You also can actually add storage pockets onto the front beams here as well, so you can utilise space, you know, against the side rather than having, say, a cupboard, for example. But I'll tell you what, let's pick the camera up and kind of come inside just to get a bit more of a better feel for the awning itself. So this is a toggle curtain which I mentioned, which you get with the porch door when you buy it additionally, and you can see it's sort of half mounted at the moment. Normally in the main body awning you've got zip curtains, so you can zip them up and down as you please, and that low level ventilation point's clearly there. The cable entry point, as we sort of talked about as well, is quite nice and neatly, and you've got those sky windows built in to get obviously a visibility as and when needed. Mesh side door allows the airflow, so again that twins up with the front mesh as we initially said about. But overall, so it's a really nice kind of feel to it. And as we look into the van itself, we've got plenty of nice big tunnel section, so we can slide that door back more than happily when it's in place. So again, when you've got that kind of one panel zipped up, it gives you a bit more flexibility. Tunnel sections, doors I should say, in both sides, so you can enter the back through the main body of the awning if you see fit, and then you've got these little adjustable points here to take up the slack, so that's going to really help you to kind of get that material looking taut, so regardless of where you fit in the height bracket, it's going to fit nicely. There's also elasticated loops around the side, so it means that again you can kind of take up the excess slack here, and you've got a little fold of fabric nice and neatly kind of in there as well. So that's your sleeve, you've got your points for the storm straps, and it's kind of smart as you see. But I think it works really quite nicely. Additional zip on the front here again is for all the tunnel attachments. Then you've got a baffle over there to kind of get it sort of nice and weather tight when you've got things attached to it. As we kind of head around it, you can kind of a bit more appreciate the overall size of it. It doesn't actually come out from the van any further than a typical awning, but you kind of go a long length of the van, so you're utilising space that necessarily would go to waste. But actually, to be fair, the main body doesn't actually stick out any further than the van itself. The rear panels we see can be kind of used as an entrance if you really want to, so you've got a panel that can be, so you can go from left to right to left and bring it halfway if you really wanted to. A big ventilation point right at the back as well. Failing that, you zip it off and obviously put that additional annex on, if you wanted to increase your sort of storage space or living space, or however you wish to really use it. Overall, I think it's a really nice kind of awning, something that I can yet again see being immensely popular for 22 going forward, just because it gives so much. And if you compare it to, say, what probably is out on the market, I don't think you quite get the same level of features that you would necessarily with the T4E. Just the functionality, the flexibility, I do really quite like it. And for me, it's kind of the go-to polycotton awning in this design, really. If you like the idea of this, you can go, or want some polycotton, there's a new kind of combo PC, which is a little bit smaller, and you've got a little bit more, you've got some flexibility in that as well. But certainly one we will have on display at our indoor showroom, so you can come and check that and see it in the flesh and really get an idea for certainly the size of it, and see if it's kind of, I think there's nothing better than seeing something in the flesh, to be perfectly honest with you. All those videos might be helpful. To be in here and picture, go right, bedding, chairs, and yeah, that's one thing I don't think you really can kind of beat. Anything else I need to mention? No, I think we've kind of covered everything. There's a lot going on here. You've got a good level of spec, lots of optional extras, features. If you want more information for that matter, you can check the link below this video. It'll take you straight through to our website, where we've got located of the sizes, the low, mid and high prices, pack sizes, the features all itemized out for you as well. So again, you've got kind of all the details there. And if you've got any more questions or queries, of course, you can comment in the box below, contact us directly via our email and website and so forth. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you people as well. So let us know what you think in the comments box below, as your feedback is always appreciated. As always, sometimes we also relay it on back to the manufacturers with little hints and tips about where we think we could change or modify it as such. So, but overall, I think, again, small improvements and certainly a wider size range for the T4E PC, but I still feel that it's kind of my favourite polycotton awning on the market, certainly for a sort of a smaller van. I think when you go to bigger vans, there possibly could be a bit better options as well, but on the whole, impressive and ticks an awful lot of boxes. But yeah, so that's kind of our video review on the new, or updated I should say, Outdoor Revolution Movelite T4E PC model.